News about Sheriff Clark. Corrupt FBI just retaliated. Former Milwaukee Sheriff David Clark has been an avid supporter of the president from the start, and now it appears as if his support for 45 has caused him some trouble with the FBI. Clark, a staunch conservative and vocal critic of the former administration, was on a flight back in January when another passenger on board acted in a threatening manner toward him. Being on television often, the sheriff rarely goes anywhere he's not recognized, and the passenger asked him to confirm his identity. When he did, Clark says the passenger stood over him in a threatening manner, shaking his head, then made some sort of comment that raised alarm. Not taking any precautions, Clark informed law enforcement on the ground of what happened, and the passenger was greeted by police then questioned when he got off the plane. The Daily Mail reported. Clark's lawyer claims that Black accosted his client as he was sitting in first class on the American Airlines flight just before takeoff. Plaintiff stopped adjacent to Sheriff Clark's seat as plaintiff boarded the plane and asked him if he was Sheriff Clark. The sheriff's attorneys wrote Sheriff Clark responded in the affirmative. Plaintiff then, while standing over Clark and in very close proximity to Clark given the confines of the airline cabin, and in a physically threatening manner, stared at Clark and shook his head at him for a prolonged period of time, the lawyers wrote. Clark asked plaintiff if he had a problem with him, to which plaintiff did not respond. The deputies were ordered by their boss, Clark, to stop Black after the two men held a brief exchange on board the American Airlines flight, the Journal-Sentinel reported. After the plane landed and was sitting on the tarmac, Clark sent a text message to one of his captains which read, "Just a field interview, no arrest unless he become an AE with your guys." Question for him is why he said anything to me. Why didn't he just keep his mouth shut? Follow him to baggage and out the door, Clark texted. You can escort me to carousel after I point him out. Now, it would seem as if that's pretty standard procedure for anyone acting threatening to an officer of the law, would it not? Considering prosecutors looked at that case and agreed, one has to wonder why the FBI is now involved. At the time, prosecutors looked into the incident and decided that Clark acted within the law. They decided not to press charges, and that should have been the end of it. However, it wasn't. Now, the FBI, which is still loaded with Obama holdovers and has been proven to be thoroughly corrupted, is investigating the incident and has executed a search warrant for Clark's emails. Controversial David A. Clark is being investigated by federal agents months after prosecutors denied to press charges after he threatened a passenger on a flight back in January. According to the Detroit News, an agent filed the search warrant request in federal court Thursday, seeking information from the former Milwaukee County Sheriff's private email account from the January 15 incident to present. So what's really going on here? Is this just the FBI being thorough, or is it political payback for Clark's support of President Trump? That's for you to decide, but the fact that this case is just now being reopened a year later speaks volumes, in this reporter's opinion.